Very briefly about AI Club. Afterwards, we're going to be presenting our research projects being 3-to-1 pipeline, Internet of Produce, which is nicknamed IOP, and the BIRD projects, which Dushan, Peicheng, and Gongfu, which are the 3 staff members of AI Club, have been researching on for the last 7 months. And so, Minchang and I are both also staff members of AI Club. And so, starting from the beginning, the left logo is HexLab, and HexLab is kind of like a supporting organization. It's like a private organization, not really affiliated with the school, but just like a fun educational organization that we had created. On the right, that's our AI Club logo. And the idea behind it is we want to combine like kind of a space theme, so it has like a little bit of bluish, purplish space color, as well as a little bit of an educational theme to it. So hexagon, triangle, and several fun shapes in it. And this is our club architecture. So we started off with this club architecture about a year ago. And right now what we have is a lead director, we have a president, we have supervising professors. So this is 指导教授, this is 教师委, and then lead director is me right now, and then president is going to be called the 执行长. 所以就是那个社长跟执行长是不一样的。就是社长的任务主要就是要管理我们，就是要跟那些公司或者是那个课外活动组之类的，就是合作的那些同事，对。然后社长是要那个负责那个我们的课程，然后我们就是跟公文部长跟那个 AI 部长就是合作，就是联络之类的，就是那些。And essentially, the communications department is in charge of graphic design, in charge of managing the Facebook page, and our communications director is Yincheng. And right now we do not have an AI director. The AI director is kind of just all of us right now. But we have our teacher, our AI study team, and our AI research team. And kind of the leader that isn't a student is Hu Zhongxin Laoshi. And so that's essentially our structure right now. So AI Club has some relation with all of these clubs. NTU Blockchain Club, 台大区块链社，他们现在好像叫那个金融科技及建立科技社团。然后这个是台科大的那个资讯安全研究社，这个是那个台大开源社，很有名的保平台。然后 NTU Data Analytics Club， 他们也是就是去年暑假的时候创的。And this is our 502 laboratory with Professor Liao, and it's called 台大共识实验室, and we've recently named it as NTU Consensus Labs. It used to be called ABC Labs, now it's Consensus Labs. 40% of our laboratory is focused on AI. Another 40% of it is focused on blockchain, and then the last 20% of it is focused on compiler. Some people think that our lab doesn't have a central focus, but I argue AI is the grouping factor behind this. And fintech is 1/3 of AI is 1/3 of fintech. AI itself is focused on all of the applications of AI, that being computer vision or NLP or data mining. It can be a bunch of different things. AI is a very broad term. And compiler, well, we have AI compiler, because the last few years of research in compiler have led to optimizations in things like deep learning and allowing for computations and algorithms to very much benefit from AI optimizations. And finally, now we have our partners. And so I had mentioned before, Hu Zhongxin is our AI leader right now. And DBS, we're working with 2 of their employees in running our classes. Reliance Biosciences was behind creating the club. About 10 out of the 20, almost half of all of the students that were involved in creating the club, because the Kowai Gongzu says that you have to have 20 club members to start, were from Reliance Biosciences, which is a medical AI company which is actually based in NTU, and their professor is named Andrew Hu. He's a 工程力学. And finally, this is Ego. Ego is a Singaporean and Chinese-based blockchain company. They're also doing research in 5G and G and in AI. And Big Data Spark, as I said, Hu Zhongxing's Facebook page. You guys can join it if you want to join our circle. So essentially, that's who we are part of. And finally, we also have DeepQ. Now, DeepQ is actually originally HTC. HTC has a very large medical AI basis right now, and DeepQ is doing very well. And recently, our lab has released a paper which actually was partially written with their help and cooperation. And that is the 3-to-1 pipeline that Bert and I were working on. And you're also working on DeepQ. Okay. Okay. And yeah, so that is APAC Blockchain Development Association. It's an NPO which is very much connected with our ABC, now called Consensus Labs. It's legally an NPO. I think an NPO has to have like 8 people to start with. So it's maybe a little bit larger than and exceeds the scope of our laboratory. And it can do maybe more than our laboratory in the realm of blockchain itself. And essentially, this is our club activities. We didn't bring the into AI lab. That's fine. Basically, we have like 15 books, and if you guys are interested in, borrowing a Python book or a deep learning book, we have Chinese, we have English, we have Japanese versions of our books, and yeah, basically just talk with CTAPC if you're interested in borrowing one of the books. And this, on the left, this was our first meeting from last year. This was actually before the semester started. And Zhang Mizhong, he's an absolute genius. But right now, unfortunately, he's decided to research in cryptography, in not AI. Don't know why, but anyways. Then there's Chonggang and Deng Jin. And on the right, and yeah, that was the first meeting. We were teaching about PyTorch, and our our instructor at that time, is Jim Lin. Jim Lin is now going to Berkeley to study AI, but at that time he was working in a company called Bravo AI, which is a Taiwan-based AI. Anyways, on the right we have our December meeting. Yeah, this was December of last year, and there were about 25 people. And there's Yichang, there's me, there's President Liao. And yeah, and the Dasa is Kevin Liang, and he was talking about BERT NLP at the time. So, and then that was like a month and a half ago. It was, yeah, the picture on the left was like a month and a half ago in the Hangbian Chelsea. And Yichang was talking about his, beginning his research in BERT NLP. And what was just presented was further research, a lot more time spent into it. And this is Hu Zhongxing teaching about the basics of Python machine learning. And that was about 2 months ago. So that was our first and only formal SOTA for this semester. And this is, well, this was at the beginning of the semester. I mentioned Hu Zhongxing and then the DBS people. And we were at Arlo, second floor cafe. And this was about, a week ago? Yeah, it was a week ago, and it was with DBS Bank. This is their Zhangguan. His name is Ron Cai Qi. And Yichang and Bert was also in that. And finally, this was also another meeting with DBS. So just some activities that we've been doing for the last couple months, just some fun stuff. We haven't been focused entirely on our classes this semester because obviously the E-team, and so we're mostly focused on creating cooperation, creating partnerships with these companies. And essentially that is what AI Club's been doing recently. So thank you.